The apparent crisis in the city of Tshwane is deepening. This follows the fallout over Mayor Randall Williams' resignation. This after the cancellation of the Special Tshwane Council sitting this morning. Opposition parties in the city are now threatening to prevent all Tshwane Mayoral Committee members from accessing the Tshwane House. Following the mayor's resignation, they say the Mayoral Committee collapsed on Monday at midnight. When the mayor's first resignation letter came into effect, they've rejected Williams' second letter to only vacate the office at the end of the month. Let's now speak to the Tshwane Council Speaker, Dr Murunwa Makwarela. Thank you so much for your time. There's been quite a lot that we've seen in the public domain first about why the sitting was cancelled, but I'd like to hear from you very briefly what happened.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity that you have afforded us to come and clear the air with regard to a number of events that are unfolding quite fast. And obviously this should be confusing to the public, but I'll try to elucidate all the facts so that the public out there is taken into confidence as to exactly what's happening now and what's going to happen in a few days to come. Let me just start by actually giving a bit of some background, emanating from the ordinary council sitting of the 26th of January. It's just a week and a half days ago. In that sitting, there was a major event that took place. We tabled the annual report, and of course, one of the most important annexures or part of that report was the AG report, which was quite damning, in terms of its findings. Obviously, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. We've made the report public, but all what it's simply saying is that the city has failed dismally to discharge service delivery to its residents. That's quite damning and quite embarrassing, in fact, even to myself as the Speaker of Council, who ensure that executive is held accountable. So be that as it may, the legislation says that once Council has approved the annual report, the Speaker must then actually take it for public participation for a period of 60 days, and hence the timing of that Council of the 26th of January. So which gave us an opportunity to go to public participation for the whole month of February up to the end of March, and thereafter we go for discussions, and thereafter we give it to the MEC. Cocta will then table it at the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. So
was that the basis of the cancellation of the meeting?
I'm coming to that because I was just painting
we don't have a lot of time.
Right. So, but effectively, last week Friday, I got a tip-off from the chairperson of the APC, which is the Audit Performance Committee, Cameron Ellis, who said to me that he's distancing himself from some of the contents of the annual report. And he then, after tabled the correct contents of the report, and then I took it upon myself as the Speaker of Council to actually table another report, not necessarily table another report, but to call for a special council meeting that will consider the correct annual report. However, when we woke up on Monday, we were greeted with the resignation letters of the mayor. I'm not going to discuss the merits of those two, but however, the essence of the matter is that the mayor has resigned. I have sought legal counsel as to exactly which one should I proceed with, of which that came forth yesterday.
So I was going to ask you about that because there's two letters. What is the status of the mayor right now? Because the second letter says he's leaving on the 28th. Now there was one that we know which said immediate effect.
For the past 8 months, I haven't had my own senior legal counsel, but I was relying on the city legal counsel, which then meant that yesterday I was able to access legal counsel as to exactly which of the two should be processed to council. Legal counsel says the second letter it's effective, meaning that the mayor will only vacate office on the 28th of February this year. So
then that means then though that now those that were calling for the mayoral committee to be dissolved and saying that the rules are clear, that once he has resigned, he cannot then come back, are wrong?
Well, partly wrong in the sense that, this is a hard place and a rock and a hard place in the sense that immediately after that, like I said, it's a myriad of events that are taking place pretty fast. After the second letter, I got another notification that says the mayor is absent on leave until the end of the month, meaning that the mayor will never return as the mayor of the city.
And he's chosen an acting person to be there. Were you told as coalition parties about this person?
These things are happening fast, and some of the information is just falling through the cracks, and it's not properly managed.
So this means then that he made a decision all on his own or with the DA. What does it say then about the status of the multi-party coalition?
Well, on Monday we had what we call the COG meeting, where all the national political leaders that are involved in the coalition committed to the coalition. The coalition in Tshwane is a different one in the sense that it has the majority, meaning that it is quite safe and stable in its nature. However, we were also not quite happy with the manner in which the events were handled, because we were not taken into confidence, in particular myself as the Speaker of Council, because I had to be primed with regard to this type of event.
So is it still safe and stable then if you are left out of details that are so crucial? Someone decides and wakes up and says, I'm leaving, and then puts somebody else on, yet you are sitting at the same table and you're supposed to be having these discussions. Is it still safe, though, to say that all of you are charting, the same song and charting the same path?
Well, it might not be safe. You remember, coalitions are difficult in their own nature. We learn new things all the time, and we admit our faults. And obviously, the best way forward is to actually admit and actually correct all those problematic areas in our relationships. On Tuesday, the COG had actually issued a joint statement that was reaffirming the commitment of the coalition partners in this government.
So does it mean then that the DA, and I say this, try to solicit an answer from you, the DA sees itself as a big brother here, that they can make decisions on their own? Is that the nature of the agreement that you have, that they can make their own decisions and you follow?
I think my experience as the Speaker of Council and also as the member of this coalition, yes, there are those kind of tendencies, but we wrestle them inside the coalition. Like any other marriage, it's not perfect, but it's some tendencies that really must be spoken against. We are all equal partners. Nobody has won the elections, and we have joined forces together with the belief that we have a common goal to achieve.
Is the next mayor a DA mayor?
According to the coalition agreement, the coalition agreement says that the mayor will always be sponsored by the DA.
So then, very briefly, so what you're saying that there's no political crisis, what do you say to residents of Tshwane who are watching tonight, because service delivery has ground to a halt?
I speak as the Speaker of Council. My responsibility as the Speaker of Council is to protect the citizens and also hold the executive accountable. The damning indictment of the AG report simply says that we have failed dismally to discharge our services. Even as I go out to check what's happening in terms of service delivery, there are potholes. We are not doing very well, I must really admit. And our role as oversight, and also using all the necessary Section 79 committees, is to hold the executive accountable to ensure that they commit and actually deliver to all the promises that we said we shall be able to do.
All right. Dr. Murunwa, I hope we have more time in the future, and of course we're not disturbed by other events, but there's still a lot that needs to be done by yourselves in council as well as those who are meant to deliver these services. That's Dr. Murunwa Makwarela, who is the Speaker in the City of Tshwane. And this, of course, talking about the latest developments. There's been quite a lot of them that have been happening.